Execute Order 66. It has happened, everyone. Something many of us have been predicting ever since this season started, maybe even since the Clone Wars had started. It has happened. Order 66 has officially happened, and I'm here to discuss it with you guys for this brand new episode review for Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 11. I think it's 11, maybe 12. It's Episode 11. I just remembered that. Episode 11, Shattered. Of course, this will contain spoilers. If you are a big Star Wars fan, if you're a geek like me, and you want to continue talking Star Wars with me, make sure to, again, hit that like and subscribe button, especially if the Force is with you, because I love talking with you guys every single week with these Clone Wars episode reviews. And in general, make sure to comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts and theories for next week, and of course, what your guys' thoughts were on this episode. Without further ado, let's get started talking about this episode. So last week, obviously, it ended. The Siege of Mandalore ended, and we all knew, alright, Order 66 is coming, because Revenge of the Sith, yeah, that film, yeah, it's coming up pretty fast. Obi-Wan was heading to Utapau, all that sort of stuff is heading into this whole thing, and, you know, someone mentioned that the last shot of Ahsoka looking up really symbolized and had the same score beats of the moment between Anakin and Padme. Looking back on that, that is completely true, because timeline-wise, it fit that. And just kind of as this episode's building up, it's kind of the little bit of an epilogue to the Siege of Mandalore as it starts out. Everyone's kind of rounding out, finishing up all their things. They captured Maul. Maul's in this Mandalorian type thing, pushing him onto the ship, and she goes to talk to the Jedi. Has this little council meeting. They kind of ask her, are you still a Jedi? In a sense, alluding to that, no, I'm just doing my citizen's duty. Mace Windu cuts her off, which was nice to see Mace Windu once again, but my favorite part of this whole entire interaction was Yoda. Having that one last interaction with Yoda. I don't know if we'll see any more Yoda with Ahsoka. I don't think we will. But still, it was a great little correlation between them right then and there, especially that last line of the Padawan. Kind of just brought all the feels, and I love Yoda. I think seeing him, this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, to see him in this whole entire season so far. I think they may have showed him during the Bad Batch, but again, still one of the only parts that we've ever seen Yoda in here, and I've missed the guy. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, so having that last conversation between one another, especially as it's building up, like, you know, everything seems so good, but we all know, like, us fans know something is going to happen, and we knew it was coming. As this whole thing occurs, Rex and Ahsoka get on the ship, they head out to the big destroyer that they have, and they put Maul in one of his cells. She's sitting there, they're going to hyperspeed. Rex has a little bit of a thing to go discuss, and the second that happened, I went, yep, Order 66 is about to happen. He's getting his Order 66 commission file right there. He heads back, and we see Ahsoka sitting there. We also see Maul sitting there in his thing, also probably hearing the same cries that she as well. And it was very clever for them to not just throw in the exact dialogue from Revenge of the Sith, because it was just excellent in there, but also seeing the perspective on Ahsoka, and the score they used in there was perfection. Again, the score throughout this whole entire last arc has been incredible, but this is one of the ones that really was. And this is a very much subtle episode, especially in the way it's building up the tension. It kind of felt like a horror film, and I have a thought, or even like a vision for a Star Wars horror film, and this kind of is a part of that, and I really liked seeing those vibes of that, you know, and seeing how it's kind of building in those moments. And in this is kind of the whole, you know, it's all nice and jolly, we're building it up, but we know there's this sinister thing underneath it. We see her feeling all those things, we hear the dialogue, and of course we hear right in front of Rex, execute Order 66. And he turns around, and the clones go, and he says, I got this. And for a second, I thought, oh, maybe his chips just malfunctioned. Nope, he goes firing all cylinders at her. She cuts them off, completely just blasts them away, and escapes to go and get Maul. And this starts the execution of Order 66, of sneaking around. And a couple of those shots in there when they're firing at her, again, reminisce to that horror tone that I really felt in here. And we'll get to some of the really brutal stuff we actually get seen here, because this was not just a very, again, subtle episode. It's an exciting one, but it's also a shattering one. Like, the episode title, Shattering, really fits for this so well. And as a pendulum episode leading into the series finale, it was a perfect pendulum episode in that manner. And just kind of heading in, of course, Ahsoka rescues Maul. We knew that was going to happen. We knew Maul was not going to die because of everything that happens in Rebels. But still, seeing that she saves him, and really not like, a lot of people predicting in the comment section that they were going to work together, but that's not a thing. Maybe The next episode, they might be working together because they're still trapped on this ship. But still, I still think they're going to end up working. They're going to have to. But let's just talk about Maul's fight scenes, of course, because he's kind of creating the diversion. He's kind of trying to figure out his own way to get out. We get a couple sequences of him just completely slaughtering these clones. I mean, straight up, the way the camera phrases everything about that. He's throwing these things, cutting their heads off, cutting the bodies off, cutting the arms off. This is straight decapitation. I love Darth Maul, and he's just kicking ass, and this is without his lightsaber. I mean, this guy is straight up badass, and I know a lot of people had complaints again as well. How did Ahsoka beat him, blah, blah, blah. I like to think that I still think he was willing to try and get her on his side, and also I think a lot of us also have to remember that she was trained by freaking Darth Vader herself, so I mean, it kind of seems like a fair fight in that point. That's just the way I view it, but I'm going on a tangent right there. That was just an awesome action sequence, and again, loved the way that Dave Filoni was able to shoot and really capture those action sequences, because yes, this is still technically a kid's show, but it has some decapitation in it, and it's kind of great in that moment. Obviously, it kind of cuts away right before, but you get what's going on, and that's kind of what I love about Star Wars, is when it gets a little bit too dark for kids, and I'm all for that. I love what they showed with Maul in here. Of course, the last building into here was Ahsoka getting the droids to help her. They get Rex, they knock him out, they bring him to the medical bay, and it gets really intense as it's all building up. They're trying to locate the chip, get that chip out because she finds out everything going on, and they get it out in the nick of time as he helped blast away the clones. They seal the door off, but the clones are still trying to get in. Rex apologizes, "I'm so sorry, I don't know what was coming over me," and she goes, "It's okay," and he goes, "It's all of them." And you see the doors going about, and they get ready to fight, and it cuts off right there, and I'm like, damn it, Dave Filoni! You executed Order 66, and now you're gonna have to make me wait well, till Monday, thank God, because May the 4th is that day. It's the last episode ever for Clone Wars, and I'm so excited, but so sad, and just, God, I'm so giddy about all this, just as I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. So just before I give you guys my final thoughts on this episode, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to be a geek like me, if you are a geek like me, or in general, if you love the Force, and the Force is within inside of you. I want to make sure to discuss tons of Star Wars content with you guys, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of that certain stuff, and make sure as well to comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts on this episode. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below, guys. And in general, I cannot wait to hear what your guys' theories are for next week. So, of course, my big theory for next week is I think Ahsoka, Maul, and Rex are all going to have to work together to get off this ship. They're going to get off, and it's going to be pretty much all of them going their separate ways, just as we've seen them go about in Rebels. And this is where I'm kind of going as far as to say I wouldn't mind seeing an Ahsoka miniseries in this kind of part between Rebels. I don't know how close Rebels is to this. Obviously, it might be a little bit more because, I mean, Kanan is really young in this time period, and Rebels, he's a little bit older. So I think there are some certain elements, there's some certain things in there that I know there's books and comics that I think they could explore Ahsoka, and I want them to fill my animated needs just a little bit more, because I do love Star Wars animation. I think they do such a good job with it. Who knows? That's kind of just my theories for the way future. I think next week's episode is going to be a great one, though. I love the first two parts for this. I love the subtle act of this. I love the horror tones in it. I love Darth Maul just decapitating these clones, and the building up to Order 66 being executed. I'm glad it didn't just happen right away. I'm glad where it happened was kind of in the middle of the episode as it finally just started twisting and turning, and the horror tone kicked in right there. Some of the shots in here were beautifully elevated in here and just amazing, and overall I loved this episode just as I've loved this whole entire arc. This is a great pendulum episode for next week's series finale, or not next week, just a couple days from now. I'm really sad that this show's ending. It's been a great journey. I love the Clone Wars era, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are feeling the same way. A lot of nostalgia in here, guys, so thank you guys again so much for clicking on this video, and of course make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment down below, and may the Force be with us all.